Hello there. The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but a commander. Now I am the operative.
What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be unboxing the Darth Vader Operative expansion for Star Wars Legion. This is an alternate version of Darth Vader that you can field, and it is going to be an operative, so you will still need a commander in your list if you want to run this version of Darth Vader. It represents Darth Vader as more of a Jedi hunter in the earlier days of the Empire, much earlier than Episode 4, when he was a little bit still young and limber. I'm getting a little old myself, and I can feel knees and back start to go out on me every once in a while, and I imagine that's kind of what Commander Vader is like. That's why he's a little bit slower to move around, and this is going to be a more spry, young, still more machine than man, but yes, when I left you, I was but the... Yeah, there we go. All right, so yeah, this is the back of the box, and we're gonna unbox this guy and take a look at him. Very cool to have this. This was from a pre-order. Also, I do want to remind you guys, there's a new round of the giveaway going on right now. If you would like to win a $25 Amazon gift card, to enter to win that, all you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. Now, this is basically the last wave of pieces to have soft plastic, so I'm not going to be able to dry fit these all together for too much longer. We've got some cardboard, all that stuff. We've got this thing right here. Look at that. This is how you put Darth Vader together. So in case you didn't know what he looks like, now you know. He looks kind of like that. All right, let's go ahead and do this thing. If you're interested in knowing what I've been using lately, I actually have started using this Tamiya extra thin cement. It is a type of cement that will bond the plastic together, but it doesn't do it immediately. It takes a little bit of time, but it's really, really good for when joints fit in like this. So it has a really strong smell, though. So make sure I wouldn't really use it a whole lot in a very tiny, non-ventilated area. But yeah, we can use this to kind of help ensure that pieces kind of stay where they are supposed to be, like right there. Yeah, I hope you guys are having a good time with all of the new Legion stuff. We've got a lot of stuff coming out in a very short time frame. It makes it hard when 8 expansions are all coming out on the same day. I suppose it's less of a big deal if if you don't play all of them. Does he go like that, or does he go down? Well, let's consult the rule book. There he goes. He goes down like that. There we go. Push that in there nice and tight, and that will bond. So you have a little bit of time to kind of reposition if you don't like the way it is in there. But this stuff, it's not like instant hold. If I need an instant hold, I can use this stuff, and I'll use this to maybe put them on the base or something like that sometimes. Although in this particular case, I can probably still use this to put them on the base. As long as the feet kind of hold flat and I can kind of hold them there for a little bit, it'll usually still hold, and that'll make it a permanent bond. So I'm going to put that cape in there, and we'll make sure we push that down nice and good, because what will happen, this will start to bond, and then if you go to pull it off, after a couple of minutes, you'll start to see pieces of the plastic, almost like a webbing, where it's become one. Another thing sometimes people will do, if they're even more carefully handed than I am, is they will kind of almost join these together and then just kind of dip some of that cement in the seam, so it kind of absorbs into the creases. But there is Vader. It's like he doesn't know what to do with his left hand. He's just like, I'm just gonna hang out here. I could see some mods happening to a Vader like this. But it's very cool. His cape is a lot more dynamic in this one. It looks really cool, very flowing. Yeah, he's gonna be a menace. He's gonna be a menace. He's just like, and it's you know what else is kind of cool? This pose is very similar to a lot of the early concept art, and that's kind of, I think, when it inspired this is Vader versus that early concept art, which I think was Deke Starkiller or something like that. So yeah, very, very cool early Ralph McQuarrie inspired kind of pose for this look of Vader. Very cool. Now let's go ahead and take a look at those cards. All right, so first thing we've got is our cardboard here, and you're gonna notice like we got the proof of purchase, a bunch of Surge. Surge is more common this time around. We've got some damage, our operative token, because he's not a commander, a dodge, which of course, you know, the Jedi need those dodges. And of course, suppression. You may be wondering, wait, what's up with all the suppression? Vader can't take suppression, he's got no fear. Well, that's the old version. This is the new version. So, big thing about this new type of like Luke and Vader both coming out now as operatives is that it's different than the commander version. You can't run both of them. Okay, so this version is going to be a little cheaper than the original Vader. He's 170 points. He is an operative, so his new rank is up here. He's going to have deflect. He's still going to have that. He's still going to have immune to pierce. He does gain Jedi Hunter, which is a really cool ability that's only going to work once in a great while. But it's going to give you that surge to crit if you're fighting another Jedi or any Force user. He's got Master of the Force 1, which is, he always had. He has Relentless, which he always had, which is great. And he's got Spur, which is really a big deal for this guy. And that's when performing a move, you can gain a suppression to increase your maximum speed by 1. So you can now move speed 2 if you don't mind taking a suppression. Now, suppression won't be a big deal for him because he has 3 courage, which is pretty good, but it's definitely different than his infinite courage, which he had before, which was like basically a nil for courage values. He could not possibly take suppression or ever panic. So that is definitely a big difference. This is, you know, more of a less of a fearless Vader. This is like new Darth Vader, almost like not long after being turned. So a little bit less experienced, perhaps. And you can see that by his lightsaber only having 5 dice instead of 6. So he's, not completely one with the ways of the Sith at this point. However, it is still Pierce 3 and Impact 3, so almost as good. And potentially better if he's attacking Jedi, because he'll have that Rage and Fury, since he's now going to have Surge to crit, which Vader not having offensive Surge has always been a problem when he is trying to do that crazy damage. So it's, where red dice are great, but I cannot tell you how many blanks and surges I end up rolling when I'm attacking with Vader. He does have 2 Force upgrades and the training upgrade. Training is going to be very important. It's going to help possibly make up for that missing die on your melee or give you other options as well. And he does come with a ranged attack this time, so you don't automatically have to give him Saber Throw. Although you certainly may want to, because while this is the same range, it's range 1 to 2, it's got Force Throw, it's got Blast and Scatter. Blast is obviously going to ignore cover. Scatter is going to let you replace the unit, everybody except for the unit leader, in cohesion with the leader. So you can basically pull a unit out of cover. I think Force Push is going to be very important on this one. You can maybe, blast somebody, put them much closer to you, and then push the whole unit potentially, if they were maybe out of range. You can do a lot of cool stuff with that. But yes, you've got the 2 Force, you've got training, and then Scatter. And then the back of the card, I was just going to explain his keywords. But yes. And this looks like art that's definitely inspired by the comic books, and we're going to see some more stuff which kind of alludes to that. So as far as upgrades, he is going to come with Fear. Dark side only, you gain Demoralize 1 after your rally step, enemy units at range 1 to 2 gain a suppression token, which is, or an enemy unit. So up to 1. You don't have to do it if for some reason you don't want to. And there's some reasons you might not to. There are certain rebel units that gain all kinds of bonuses when they have suppression. Or maybe you don't want to give somebody heavy cover. Maybe you don't want to give Jyn Erso yet another suppression. Force Guidance, great card, giving out Surge. So now maybe your Stormtroopers can actually have some, something to kind of give them a little defensive bonus. Maybe you want your snipers to actually have offensive Surge. Great card. Endurance. At the end of the activation phase, you may remove a suppression token. This one is a big deal, especially if Vader somehow has 3. Then he doesn't have to even worry about losing an action. And that's something you definitely don't want. You don't want him to lose an action. And then you have Tenacity here. This is maybe one of the best upgrades to give somebody who's heavily based on melee. But I think I might still have to give Vader Saber Throw. Now, we have his command cards. We've got Darkness Descends. This card is amazing. When he's issued an order, he gains 2 Surge tokens. This is a 3-pip. It's only him. Again, he's an operative this time. He's not a commander in this function. You can use these cards with his original command cards. You can put all 6 Vader cards together, and you can run all 6 Vader cards with either Operative or Commander, but you can't obviously have Commander and Operative in the same list. But their cards aren't bound to the specific version. They're only bound to Darth Vader. So if they come out with another version of Darth Vader at some point, you'll be able to use this with that version of Darth Vader. And this isn't even faction specific. So if, for example, the Republic ever get like an Anakin Skywalker, like an evil Anakin Skywalker version, and he's called Darth Vader, which I don't know if they'll actually do that for game balance purposes, but in theory, you could use him with that. If, like any version of Darth Vader, you'll be able to use these with. So, and that's at least how it is right now, and that's also as evidenced by the fact that we've got 6 Darth Vader cards for the Empire now, or for Darth Vader now, as well as we have R2 and 3PO, which can be used across multiple different factions, but the same set, or for R2 at least, for the same set of command cards. So that's kind of cool. But this is a cool card. It's going to give him 2 surge tokens right away, which is important because he doesn't have that defensive surge. Of course, he can if he gets a dodge. But he's probably not going first since he's a 3-pip. But you can reveal this at the start of the game. Then you can place Darth Vader last, and he's going to get Infiltrate and Scout 1. Infiltrate is a tough one if you're deploying last. At best, it's going to get you like a little bit farther forward. But at worst, it lets you deploy as normal, and you still have Scout 1, so it's at least something. So I'll take it. It is what it is. But yeah, Infiltrate and Scout 1. This one is actually hard to use if you're going up against other people with Infiltrate. So if you're going up against like Jinn or Pathfinders and stuff like that, they can kind of shut you out, and then you won't be able to have, the ability to deploy wherever you want. Now, most people don't have to face Pathfinders or Jinn very often. I, however, tend to play my friend Sean a lot, who heavily favors Pathfinders and Jinn. So I am in one of those unique situations where Infiltrate on Vader is not as good for me, but it probably will be good for a lot of people. It might even encourage more Pathfinders and Jinn play. All right, we've got Fear and Dead Men. When Vader uses Deflect, the attacker suffers 1 wound for each blank result instead of each surge result. You have more blanks anyway, so you're more likely to do extra damage. However, those blank results are bad because that means wounds that you take. So every wound you take goes basically right back to them. When an enemy unit at range 1 to 2 and in line of sight of Darth Vader activates, Darth Vader gains a dodge token. So this one basically, any damage you do to him is basically coming right back to you also. And he's going to gain a dodge token every time somebody else activates. So this is almost like his hello there. He wants to go in, get right in the middle of all your guys, and then play this. So then he's going to keep getting dodge tokens, and he's just going to keep deflecting and deflecting and deflecting. You might bring him down, but it's going to be at great cost. And then Vader's Might. He's throwing an ATRT here, which is so cool. And this is a fun one. It gives him a free action, and it's a 1-pip, and again, just Darth Vader. It lets you choose another non-heavy unit. So you can't throw an ATST or a Snow Speeder, or something like that, at range 1, and place that unit on the battlefield within range 1 and height 1 of its current position. Then, if it's an enemy unit, roll a white defense die for each mini in the unit. That unit suffers 1 wound for each any ink, basically. So it's kind of letting you clamber, like force push. This is kind of how I used to think force push would have worked. Like I wanted you to be able to force push people off a cliff and force them to clamber down, but it doesn't work that way. So this is instead giving you Vader a more powerful version where he can push you straight up off a cliff, which is really, really fun. I kind of like that mechanic. Cool ability. Not sure if it's worth a 1-pip. Like, it depends on what kind of list you're going with. Like, if you're running Vader and a generic officer, then sure. But if you're running Vader, and you're trying to run like Vader's all of his command cards, like if you're running another named commander, like the 1-pips now suddenly start to get really tough. Like if you're running Palpin Vader, like I don't know if I would run this one. I would definitely want Palp's 1-pip, but I think I want Commander Vader's 1-pip like over this one. But this one does at least have the capability to be really fun, and it could potentially get a lot better as times go by. And the thing is also, it lets you place it. This will also let you move emplacement troopers, so that's kind of fun. You can place them in a way that they have no shot. You can basically put people out of the game. Really good for the final turn as well. And so that's kind of cool, basically being able to put somebody in a position where they're no longer threatening an objective or something like that, which can be very, very fun. And that is, I think, all of our cards. All right, everybody, that is it for Darth Vader Operative Expansion. He's going to be fun. Look for him to hit the tables here real soon. He should be very fun to play. I have already tried to use him in a recent battle report, while at least using his command cards with Commander Vader. It did not work out as good as I had wanted it to, but I'll have to try again, applying some lessons learned. Some of these new cards take a little bit of practice, I think, and that's one thing that's kind of cool about Legion. It keeps you coming back and coming back. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I also want to thank the patrons on Patreon. If you're considering supporting this channel, there are links in the description below to Patreon as well as my other social media accounts, so you can check those out if you like, and I will talk to you guys later. I want to thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.